And will I?
Hello.
And welcome to our podcast.
Oh, good to
Do
be
you want
silly.
to talk about how ridiculous your life is and how my parents don't know how evil you are? How much of a mess?
I thought I was going to
Sorry.
find my fame.
What happened instead of the fame?
Sorry.
That's okay. We could have a little jam session to kick off this podcast. It's amazing. This sounds a bit weird. It's a bit rustly. You can hear everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're really good microphones.
Your voice sounds really good on the microphones.
It does. Please don't change anything.
Oh no, I
Don't
think it's a
change
high so it can adjust to a high pitched voice.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So,
How is your life? More of a mess, the untold story.
I think it's not a mess. It depends what you call a mess,
That's true.
right?
This podcast.
Eat a mess.
Spoken.
It's a mess,
That
but
is.
it tastes pretty good and it's pretty unhealthy, but many people still go for it.
It's unhealthy but enjoyable. Your travels aren't unhealthy.
No, not really.
They're enjoyable.
They are. Yeah. Yeah. I think my travels have been enjoyable and they still are. And I guess I do it a bit in a way that I don't have much plans when I'm doing it.
Just total freedom.
Yeah.
Have you ever come across that to be an issue?
Issues,
Yeah.
many.
The freedom.
And not, well, the freedom as well. I would not say freedom itself is an issue, but it's what we do with it.
Right.
So to be able to be too free can maybe mean that we don't choose a path. Like in Alice's story, when Alice doesn't know which way to go and the cat says, well, if you don't know which path to follow, it doesn't matter what path you go anyways.
Each
Just
path
a bit like
leads
that.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. I like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel a bit like Alice? Alice in Wonderland?
No, I think in Alice there are that's about, I think, like which there's a lot of influences from materials, I guess, in that story.
Materials?
Materials.
Like psychedelics? Or?
Yeah, substances.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Apparently, was it Lewis Carroll that wrote it?
Lewis Carroll, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently she took acid
He.
whilst writing it. It's a he, Lewis, of course. I don't think I've ever met a girl called Lewis. Just Carol.
Don't be sexist. There might be some girl that's called Lewis.
That's true. They could get really offended.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a beautiful name, Lewis.
Louise.
Louise, of course. It's not quite Lewis,
Not cool.
but yeah, that was inspired by acid. Apparently, the caterpillar smokes opium.
Yeah,
I think
I guess so.
that makes sense.
It's not for sure if he was on substances. Some people say that he had a great imagination, and due to that, people say that it can be thought of he was on psychedelics. But when you look at kids, it's like they're on psychedelics constantly. It's as if they haven't figured out what's real, what's not.
Yeah, there's so much empty space to play with.
Yeah. So it's like kids' imaginations, and when kids do it, we usually just.
Oh, would you be able to
That's
move the
amazing.
mic so it's like this
Bit
far
here.
away from your mouth?
Yeah, sure.
You can like move this thing around this.
Not move myself. I'll move the microphone myself. Yeah. So it's like having a kid's mind and not thinking what's ridiculous, and actually even trying to be more ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
intentionally.
Intentionally, definitely.
It's more fun, like Joker. David Lynch tries to like make sure that his room or his workspace is completely clear. Like there wouldn't be any posters, no art, so that it's like that empty space of a child's imagination. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that pretty useful.
Mm.
Especially, getting distracted by so many things. If I'm doing a drawing and if I see the juggling balls next to me, I start like leaving the drawing halfway and start juggling, and then I pick up the guitar and then leave it after 5 minutes and then go back to it, and then run to my job. Say I didn't have time.
You always seem to finish the drawings. They look amazing in the end. Like maybe that space away like allows the next part to flourish. The bird that you made.
Yeah, there are unfinished ones as well, many. Or some. I think that's something I'm learning to finish. And which requires me to be with myself, because it's at the end it doesn't have to be finished, but we know when we finish it, the end product is looking really nice, and we say that's what we did.
Yeah, it's your creation.
Yeah. And it's the fun part as well, because like each stroke you get to see it a bit more. It becomes a bit more lively. So sometimes when I'm drawing something, I take the first bit that I did, and then the next part, and usually in the middle I think that looks good, that's good enough. I'm like, oh, but I should add a bit more. And then so when I go through the pictures and I see when I said it was enough, I see that there could have been, it was nowhere. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you think that reflects into your life? Like, or your other work, such as playing didgeridoo? Like you do one little rhythm, you do another little rhythm, you think that first rhythm was fine, and then you play with it a bit more as the song progresses. By the end of it, you have a new song.
With the didge, I think it's just something so new, is that I'm starting to, rather than rush it, start playing on the beat, start playing with the beat, and then adding things to it when I feel comfortable with that.
That makes sense. That showed when we were jamming a second ago. Like you'd repeat the same section over and over again, and then when it was perfect, you'd add that next section.
Yeah, otherwise the sound is not coming out.
That makes sense. Yeah, it would just stop.
Yeah.
And end of concert.
So it's like, I think it's more playing it safely so that each sound is coming out nicely, and not thinking of the end result, not thinking I've got something in my head so I have to like put it there.
Yeah.
So if I'm actually putting gaps in between, then there's more to fill in between the gaps, and then I come up with a new rhythm.
Mm-hmm. More to fill as in time for your head to like create new stuff, or for another musician to
feel it, I think. And I don't know, I don't know much about music actually, and I think that's how most musicians also work.
like they work off the spaces as much as they do when they're playing.
I don't know, I can't speak much about music.
I'd agree with you. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Quite like that in acting, the spaces. Just when you're acting a scene and it's going like quite intense, and then suddenly someone says something and there's silence, you just look at each other. It's like, it can be the most powerful moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
This has turned into a very serious topic.
Really?
Serious conversation.
It just suddenly went very intense.
It did, yeah.
Well, I suppose conversations are a bit like the didgeridoo.
What about the didgeridoo?
It's always there. I'm just seeing it.
I know, it's funny that it's this shape and it's become my love.
It's thin and sticky. I don't understand.
I'm saying the shape of it, and then the fact that it's always there, and I'm just very much in love with it. I think in the, in Dirty Minds.
I thought that's what you were saying, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that and be like the typical younger brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like your companion. It works.
Yeah.
Like, the guitar.
And it's light, perfect for a traveller.
True, it's hollow.
Yeah. What?
It doesn't have air, like it's light.
Uh-huh.
It does have air inside of it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what did you want to ask me on this podcast?
Well, on this podcast specifically, because it's called A Spoken Mess,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know how much of a mess you really are.
Oh. Okay. Are there any specific questions?
Yes.
Okay.
When did you realize you were a mess?
Wow.
This is horrible.
This
It's
is
like
horrible.
bullying.
It's like I'm not a mess.
You're not a mess.
No.
Yeah, you're not. You're honestly not.
It's okay.
You're very headstrong.
Yeah. That was also in my birthday book the other day. Apparently one of my strengths is that I am indomitable.
You cannot be dominated.
Yes, I can't be dominated. Apparently that's my strength, but I think that's also my weakness.
What about... No, yeah, that makes sense.
I hate rules.
Yeah.
I hate someone telling not. Let's not talk about it as an I, but generally I don't think it's our place to tell someone what to do. We can be there to guide people, guide things. It's the same with nature as well. As humans, we plant seeds, we play with nature. And we grow seedlings and we turn them into trees or plants or vegetables, and then we consume them. And it's in a way a part of nature. We do it in an organized way. And we think that we control it. Mm-hmm. But most animals do this naturally anyways. They eat the fruit they go and plant the seeds through their excess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they just do it naturally. And we think that we're the only ones planting seeds. But yeah, again, we just do it naturally. Like we do it in an organized way. So, but when we try to take over nature,
yeah,
and start cutting down things, and like say this is my land and I'm making this garden and no other things should live there, then we're starting to control it. And I think when we do that with anything, with a child, with our own child, with another human being, even criticizing another human being is trying to control them.
In a way, even if it's for positive, even if it's a teacher. But when does it turn into guidance in a way? I wonder, because through criticism, it can be like said in a controlling way, but it can also guide. Like if someone is playing the guitar and you can see what song they're trying to play and they play a wrong chord in a certain section, you criticize them by saying, like pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be?
I think that would not be controlling. That would be, if that, showing that person. I had that situation with kids where I tried to show them some beats and like whatever I knew I was trying to show them, and the kids didn't want to follow. They just wanted to have fun, so I let it be. So I tried it on them, and then I let it be. And then after some time, another kid came, and I thought, okay, he's going to do the same thing, and we're just going to jam. And he said, no, let's do some beats. So we were doing counting beats. So it's what that person wants.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Sorry.
Yeah. I get you.
Yeah.
I was agreeing with you.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then if we look at it, my life is a mess for many people, according to many people. I think there is this thing that I love to experience something, almost know that I can do it, play around with it, and then realize if I love it or if I don't love it. So what we were talking with you before with the guitar, the idea of playing it was always so romantic to me, and I always wanted to play and sing on top of it. But it takes so much time. And when I do it, I do like it. But sometimes I find that I can't experiment with it. I find it really hard. So I realized that, okay, maybe I need to let that go. It's not my thing.
Yeah. You're learning it more for the idea, the theme of the romance, rather than the actual enjoyment of your fingers touching the strings.
Yeah. It was like end result and result oriented.
Yeah, oriented. I don't actually know.
I never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. There's a bit like you were saying about how you don't think your life is a mess. However, some people might see it as it being a mess. Like some people might see a businessman's life as being a mess because he can't chill and he's stuck in an order.
Mm-hmm.
So it is all perspective. What a mess is.
Yeah, definitely. I think as long as we are content with what we're doing. But yeah, when you actually asked me about issues, had I encountered any issues, I actually thought if you asked me if I encountered any issues on my travels.
Yes. I remember that.
Yeah. So I would like to answer that.
Okay. Please do.
So, obviously being a woman and wanting to experience things, I have put myself in some crazy situations. I think one that I love sharing is how I got once from India, North India, to Nepal. And it was my first time I was in India. And again, I was in that state of, what am I going to do? Am I going to do like, do I want to do I want to go on to doing a yoga teacher training? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And I was in this state. And my father's friend had come to Nepal. And he said, let's meet in Nepal, and, you know, I'll give you a whole day and it'll be a rest for you. So I was, all right, okay, that's good, great. So I decided I was on a budget as usual, and I was stingy as hell. And more than anything, like, I could have afforded a proper train ticket. But I decided to get...
Sorry, would you mind turning notifications off, please?
Oh, sure.
Sorry.
I didn't even realize it's coming to me. So, okay, I've done that.
Oh, okay.
So yes. So I can't remember if in the first part of the journey I took the bus or the train, because I've taken hundreds of them and I just forget which one was which. So the last part of the journey, though, I had to take this train, and I decided to get a general ticket, and a general class ticket, which cost me something like equivalent to 40 pence. If I had got a bit higher class, my sleeper class, it would have cost me maybe 130.
Right.
So I decided to go for the cheaper one.
Right. Was there a reason for that?
Yes, because I wanted to experience it. And they said to me that there's a ladies department, so, you know, you'll be traveling there. So, okay, great. And this was when I had organized my journey to get to the train station. And because India being India, there is always this unknown thing, like you can get to the train station, but you can't find how to get from there to, say, Nepal. And so you need to ask all the travelers and people who've been doing this before, and on blogs also you can't find it. And so I met people, and I've been writing loads of things in my notebook, and one of my friends told me, you get to that train station and the conductors are going to tell you that, you know, you have to take a train, but don't listen to them. You have to go out of the train station and you'll find this taxi stand, and the taxi people will try to get you to take a private taxi. Don't listen to them. So you go a little further, and then you find other travelers, and then you get a shared taxi all together to the Nepal border. So I was trying to tell the conductor this when I got to the train station. I was telling him, look, there's a shared taxi. He was saying, no, madam, you must take this train. Oh, okay, all right. So I took the train ticket, and I went to the train, and I asked I asked someone, where's the ladies' compartment? And they said to me, it's that way. So I start running that way, because there was a few minutes till the train left. I start running that way, and then I saw a conductor. I said, the ladies' compartment is that way, right? He said, no, the ladies' compartment is all the way at the other end. And it was such a long train. So I ran to that part, and by this time I'm running to the end of the train, and if I missed it, I've missed it. So run with all my backpacks, go into the ladies' compartment. I turned my head to look. There was probably more men than ladies, and it was just packed. It was next to a toilet. It was smelling so bad, and
it was definitely the ladies' compartment.
It was the ladies' compartment, but there were men and women, and it was so busy. And so I went in there, and, you know, being a foreigner in India and frustrated, and a woman, I got this real, like a badass goddess, I'm gonna kill all the men kind of energy. There was this guy sitting at the luggage part of the, so there's seats, and then there was a part where you put your luggage, and I looked up at him and I said, this is ladies' compartment. You get up there and I go up there. So he was like, okay, madam. So he went down. I went on to the luggage compartment, and I swear I could not fit in. I had to bend my head down and travel the whole journey like this. And there were metal bars in between each luggage section.
Yeah.
And the train stopped at some part, because there was a delay and it was so hot. There was a fan on the top going on. It was blowing hot air and I could not breathe anymore. And I was like, oh my God, why am I doing this to myself? Like, why am I experiencing this just for the sake of experiencing this? Why? And I was like, so what, Leyla? You experienced it. You're happy now. You're stuck in the middle of nowhere with hot air blowing on your face. You can't breathe. And there's a guy next to you at the other side of the metal bars asking you, Madam Facebook, Madam, you married? And I'm like, go away. I am engaged. And he says to me then, Madam, where is your boyfriend? Madam, Facebook. And you're like, oh my God. So for 5 hours, I had to listen to this guy saying, Madam, Facebook, while there were more guys jumping onto this compartment and they were stepping on top of each other because there was no space, like literally throwing on their suitcase that was landing on somebody's head who was sitting on the ground. They were like stepping on top of each other, trying to fit into the... So that was my... one of my experiences, which I experienced for the sake of experiencing. And then when I went to the point where I was supposed to get to, I was still not at the border, and I think I had taken the wrong train to the wrong border, and there was another border where my dad's friend was waiting for me, so I had to get a private taxi. And paid like a ridiculous amount for this guy to take me to the right border.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
How far was the border? Like,
how far? It took about another 2 hours, 2.5 hours to get to it. In the taxi.
Did he overcharge you as well, do you think? Like, is that a thing that happens?
Pardon?
Did he overcharge you, do you think?
I cried. I was so frustrated. Like, I was just like, just take me. And I was like, oh, I don't know if they overcharged me or what.
Yeah. Do you regret the experience at all?
No.
That's amazing.
No, I just need to, I think, write down most of the things that happen because I love putting myself in some crazy situations. Yeah. I think it's the way my brain is wired.
I like putting myself in. It's weird. I have the same thing with experiences.
Yeah.
I remember in Dorchester there were these two Turkish kebab. Where are they from? Oh, Bulgaria, I think. No, but yeah, a country around there, and they have this. He was telling me about this drug called wasabi. Something like that, and you stand there and you're in hell, like you can't move. He showed me these videos. It looked like the most horrible experience. Like you're stood there and you're looking down at the ground and your head's like spinning. You can't manage your thoughts, and it just looked horrible. And then I was like, yeah, I'll try it because the experience. Oh no, I haven't done it yet. When I go over to the country, but imagine living my whole life not trying it. I only have one life.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what kind of experiences we want to have. I don't have that kind of an...
I'd much prefer your kind of experiences. Was it in in planes they have luggage racks? I was curious about this. Yeah. Was it at the size?
A bit more, because I could fit in having my head bent to one side.
Yeah.
So it's kind of... I was slouching and so
it's
pretty small.
Stories.
Pardon?
I don't suppose you. Don't suppose you have any more stories. Issues or
I've got some. I mean, those are the stories that I just put myself in. But also, as we were talking before, because like it passed, but in the moment I just thought to myself, why are you doing this to yourself? But there's been some great moments, beautiful moments.
Yeah, the mountains are beautiful, let alone like the place you're going to be living.
Mountains are beautiful.
Yeah.
I think though, like, nature everywhere is beautiful. I fall in love with nature everywhere. So I fell in love with the lakes here. There was this one day. So when I went to the lakes,
Yeah.
and we were camping there on our friend's land, I don't know what time I was waking up, because most of the time we didn't have the phones and we didn't know what time it was. And I was always barefooting. And even though they told me there's ticks,
Yeah.
wear your socks and boots, and especially you're barefooting. And they're all, everyone super nature friendly and they get this, but they were just like, just watch out. I had many ticks. As a conclusion we came to was like, people who had boots on, they were getting ticks. Me, without boots, I was getting ticks. So I just thought, it's a no-brainer, just go without the boots. Because then I could also check every now and then.
Yeah, of course. There's a chance with the boot as well. If the tick gets stuck on there, rubs against it, and you got a head in.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
That's right, yeah. Yeah. So I was barefooting, and why I say this is that the scene there was quite funny, because there was this very stormy weather. Just like it's kind of stormy today. It's very windy, and I love it. I love being outdoors when it's like this. And especially then, I like to wear like very thin layers, because I feel less cold, and I get to, it's not this kind of like crazy thing. I genuinely feel like when we put more layers on, we actually get colder. I find that like if you're sleeping, usually your body heat, if you don't wear anything when you're sleeping, your body heat keeps you quite warm.
Really?
I find that, yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if it's in nature, if the more layers you have, like, because all the layers are holding in the body heat that you already have. Yeah. I wonder in nature if it's because if you have so many layers that the outer layers get really cold, and then it just stays like that. It's like you put yourself in an icebox. Maybe.
I mean, not always. Obviously, like if I'm in cities and or in towns, I'm wearing a bit more.
Yeah.
Like. So, anyways, that day, I got out of my tent, and it was a stormy day, and I thought, wow, a beautiful day to go out for a walk. And so we were right in the middle of nature, next to the lakes. So I decided to go for a walk. I had these Thai. Like loose baggy trousers. That's
I know the
it's
one.
pretty much like looks like you'll be doing Tai Chi.
Okay, kind of like the Indian baggy.
Yeah. You like tie it up and wrap it around you and stuff. And on top of it, I did wear a bright yellow rain poncho. It was bright yellow, and no shoes. And I went for a walk, and I enjoyed it so much. I kept walking and walking and walking. I was like soaking wet, and I tried to not go on the path, and I was like walking around. And I walked up this hill, and I saw these sheep, and they had blue paint on them, so they were like sheep that looked like blue sheep on the hills. And so the scene was quite funny, because the wind was blowing like crazy. It was a storm, and I was there barefoot, and there were blue sheep on the hills. And as I walked to them, they looked more shocked to see me than me seeing blue sheep. So I walked up, and they were like, bah, 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 what's this stranger doing here? And so I walked all the way to the top to see what's there.
Yeah.
And there was like, the scene was crazy. I loved it so much that I just threw myself on the floor, and I lay down with the rain splashing on my face. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I love life so much. But the fact that there were blue sheep around me going, bah, bah, I think that was quite a funny scene. And then on the way back, I walked down, and I went onto the path. And because the lakes is like a touristy place, and you get the campers, the people coming to the camping and stay for a few days, and they continue to go for their daily jogs with their, jogging shorts and jogging trainers and I don't know, like sweat-proof t-shirts under the rain. And then there's me barefoot with my red tie trousers and bright yellow, and them running after me and going, "Excuse me," and passing by me. And I was so much in my zone, like going slow. They probably thought I was like a crazy lost person
Just
living in the hills
with your blue sheep.
With my blue sheep that lost it. Probably thought I was a lost little girl.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably many people do crazy things like that. And
do you feel awake? That sounds like an awakening.
I love it. That's like, I think that's the thing. I can't stand being indoors. I can't stand being in a town because I can't do that. Anytime rain is coming, I want to like go out and be barefoot.
It makes sense. It's such a beautiful force of nature.
I love it. Yeah, I love the rain and the wind, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
Were you ever a pyromaniac?
No, but I do like lighting fires.
Oh, right. Just wondering because of the elements. I quite like fire. I remember I did something sort of similar. Just like put my shoes on and just, it was pouring it down in the rain. I just sprinted. I was going through a bit of a difficult time. I just sprinted through the rain, and something about the rain and strong emotions that it just sets off something.
You sprint quite a lot though. Suddenly you have sudden sprints.
Just suddenly I'm like a dog, just.
Yeah, but neither of us have actually like proper trainers or
No.
like gear to run.
Just natural. We just too excited, too hyper.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're fucking fire, depending on whether you liked it or not, depends, like sort of sets your personality for the future. Because the pyromaniacs that I've met in my life, or like people that say they're pyromaniacs, they seem to have already clicked with them. Like they were the member in the group that I sort of gravitated towards a bit more. And then I hear this and I'm like, that's a weird coincidence.
So they were actually pyromaniacs that set buildings on fire.
Oh no, that's an arsonist. A pyromaniac just loves fire.
Oh really?
Yeah, kind of like the stuff in Turkey with the newspapers and me. Did you know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like saying
when you tried to light fire indoors and then put it under the bed and the whole thing was going in fire. Yeah.
Oh no, that makes it sound like I was just burning down the house.
No, Mum came up and then
pretty much.
Right.
I think maybe
you heard Mum coming up and then you just decided to hide it.
I was young. I didn't know that I could burn a house down.
Yeah, you were young and I traumatized you.
You did. You were horrific. Finally, I get to share how horrific you were to the world.
I was.
It's time, man. I get to share everything. So there was this one time I was doing homework.
And I asked you to do. But now I know better. I didn't know that not everyone could be academic and, you know.
Not be hit with a wooden spoon.
I saw the wooden spoon trick from someone else and it had worked on your child. So.
I guess I was a bit fiery. I just grabbed the wooden spoon off you and ran after you and broke a glass window.
And then you run downstairs. And the next thing I know...
I don't know the rest of the story.
Then the next thing I know, Mum came up and said, why did you break the glass? And I said, what? And he said, you came running down and told me that you broke the window. And I said, he broke the window. And I guess, again, I was blamed. It's...
The bottom cause of me blaming you was that I knew I wasn't actually guilty.
You broke the glass. That's a lie. But telling someone I broke the glass.
You were going to hurt me, though. It seemed like it, so I was like, I can imagine. Justice.
Like, at that age, someone threatened me with a wooden glass, wooden spoon.
Jesus.
There was another one that I love, actually. That was terrible. I was yelling at you. I think you were 4, and you were not finishing your food. Because I remember I was around 14, and that was the age when I was saying, I'm going to be an English teacher, and I'm going to go to I had Africa in my head, because like, you know, it's always told to you when you're young, you think like Africa needs to be saved, and you're always told about children in Africa. It's like as if there's no other place on earth that needs, you know, something.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
There are other countries that are less economically developed.
Economically developed, exactly. So I had this idea that I was going to go to Africa to teach English, and then I was going to end up in their politics and like become this political face, and I was going to change so many. I don't know what I was going to change, but I was going to have my fist raised up in the air, and I was going to change something. And that was the time when you were not eating your food, so I was yelling at you. I remember yelling so badly, there are children hungry in Africa, you have to eat this, and you were screaming at the top of your head, crying so bad.
Can you remember what I was saying?
You were just crying because you were so afraid of my face, right in your face, yelling at you.
That's always scared me. That's where I got it from. When I see that, when someone's a bit like angry to my face, I get this like feeling of like, oh. I don't know if everybody gets that though. It's quite not nice being shouted in someone's face.
It is not nice, no.
In general, I've done it.
Yes.
It's just one of those things, really. Sometimes you just lose it.
Yeah.
Some starving kids in Africa, like, that's a good stimulus for a passionate girl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a bully.
At the time.
You were really into all the like Greenpeace, is it called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was saving the world, and always, I guess, like I used to. I remember being 5, 6, and crying at night under the covers because I could not figure out where we came from.
That's really weird. I did the exact same.
I wonder if everyone has that age where there's this like. Maybe it's because we start school at that age. And it's like, I don't want to be in this world. Where did I come from? I'm an alien to this world.
That's so true.
I don't want to go to school. Why do I exist? It could be it, because otherwise life just goes on very nicely and naturally, and then suddenly you're put into this thing where it's like, from now on you're going to be in this building, and you're going to have these friends and this, and you're going to do this. And it's like, what about, like, you know, naturally evolving? What about the worms that I love?
It's a system that it could work.
What could work?
The system of school. Because, like, if I didn't go through that system, I probably wouldn't act.
Well, you didn't need to do any of those things, did you? Like, you didn't need to... You didn't have to do many of the things. Well, you need to go and... I think you're lucky enough, though. You're lucky enough that you did acting, and like from a young age, we always said that you were going to go into acting.
Really?
Yeah.
Even in Turkey?
Yes, you don't even
wonderful.
know the influences. I was like, he has to be an actor because like there's no other thing he can be.
It's so
save
true.
him. And yeah, because you were doing all these, you used to imitate all these different accents, and you knew all the lines to Shrek, for both Shrek and Fiona, and we sit there, and sometimes you'd say Shrek's part and I'd say Fiona's part. And
that's insane.
Yeah, so you knew like every line because you watched it like 3 times in a row or something, over and over, obsessively.
Wizard of Oz, I was like that. I don't know how many times I've seen that film.
Yeah. So then we're like, okay, he has to be an actor. Because he loves it, obviously, and he's good at it, and he will always like trying to impress people as well, like with, you know, funny things and acting. And
was it? Would you call it attention seeking, or was it more like trying to make people happy?
It's just who you are, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of like finding the underlying cause of like why. But
it's just how you were born, you know, like, you know, from a young age, from like since you were a kid, I really felt it. Like, I can't see doing something with maths or something, you know.
That's my dream though. Honestly, when I sit and I think like, what would I have wanted to be? Like, If I had had the option and the path, what would I have wanted to be? And it would be a scientist changing the world, like Elon Musk or Nikola Tesla or Einstein. Like,
Yeah.
just creating.
Yeah.
Like, and I suppose acting is creating because you're creating a person. So it had to be something creating, I guess.
Yeah, if you think of it like that, then everything comes to like what you do with it, you know. So, obviously, like Elon Musk has chosen to do something. That is also his passion, and
Yeah. That is his passion. It's what he chose. He worked hard at it. I saw a quote that said it was because his mum worked him hard at a young age.
because
Like,
he's
his mum worked him hard at a young age.
Mm.
She said like get them to work young. That's the secret.
I agree with that. I totally do. But like, I agree with it in a way that like you need to give small duties
Yes.
to kids, like starting because for kids everything is fun, you know. Like to build a table from scratch can be fun if you make it in a fun way, because. And also, I think that's where it comes into. I don't know. Some kids might not like it. Maybe I'm totally wrong with this. Maybe you can't get kids to do things that they love. They just need to find what they love. But in that sense, maybe get them to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If they like to do washing, like cleaning stuff, get them to do it at the age of 6, 7. Get them to wash dishes. There's nothing wrong with that. It will take only 10 minutes of their time, or so, you know, and then they can go to play again. And that's like playing with water.
It's true. Yeah, it's
just responsibility.
and it's not as if it's taking their childhood away by telling them to do that, because they might even enjoy their childhood more. They're like, I contributed. I exist.
Yeah.
I'm not just here to play.
Yeah.
Although they may not understand, and they may just be like, "This is only pain."
Yes, my mother got me to work at a young age. That's why, I turned out the way I am. Look at Elon Musk.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Elon Musk. It's the same with Jeff Bezos. His dad is he was really hardworking, something like that, and then he moved to this country or America, and then he was like, "Right, I'm gonna follow suit and try and be as hardworking."
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. We don't know. We don't know if it's actually depending on our personality as well.
Depending on our personality. What do you think of DISC?
DISC?
It's this personality type thing. It's these 4 different types of personality. So the first is there's red, and reds are a bit more dominant and control, like Steve Jobs, like it's a bit of a leader, but they're a bit brash. Like if they're on a phone call, the point is to get the phone call, the information, and then leave the phone call, basically. Understand what needs to be done. There's yellow, which are in social groups, they don't really listen as such. They just throw out the information that they think other people. It's very much about themselves, but they're inspiring. By being so positive and out there, they can inspire people. Greens are the average person. They just don't really interfere too much. They hear, they take on board, and then they let go. Mm-hmm. And then blues are kind of like robots. They see, they analyze, they have emotion, but they just don't fully understand how to banter, how to communicate with this, like, they're kind of pessimists. Yeah. What do you think?
About these personality?
The theory.
The theory?
Like whether it's viable, or because Lorna was saying that she thought Lorna and her mate said that they thought the environment is what changes us. So you got these personality types in a room with like people that they're comfortable with. So like say a blue who usually doesn't really interact too often, he'll like be more out there, he'll be comfortable and be more of a yellow or a green, like but I don't know, because I feel like someone can be more antisocial.
Well,
so much information. I'm reading a book on it at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think about it? I mean,
that's everything I know. I feel like, so like if a red was put in a social situation that he was comfortable in, he might be a bit more dominant, and he might say things that are still like a little bossy, or like more determined to get the job done. Like if they're playing a board game, he'll say it in a happy way, but the intention would be, oh, come on, take your turn. Whereas a blue may not just may not respond, and may just plot his whole game out. So in any environment, they're still the same, like, sets of...
I think family has a lot of effect on us when I observe things, because obviously we're born with our own personalities and characters as well, but I think family, environment, where we are born...
Was that mine? It is about to slip off.
So I'll wait for you to sort that out. I'll keep waiting.
What person did you do?
So you just hold the microphone from now on.
It could work. I'm trying to like get this little bit on the screen. I think that's copyrighted. There, I shouldn't be using their samples.
I can't play it right now. I can make weird sounds right now. That's what's coming out.
You know how to sing?
Pardon?
You know how to sing?
Sing.
Yes.
People are strange when you're a stranger.
Oh, I'm so sorry for all this noise to anything that was listening.
Maybe.
Oh god.
Oh, okay.
You
so
fucking twat.
I didn't say that. Okay, so there's a noise going on in the background. Do you want me to talk over it?
I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry.
That was great. So Ali just had the microphone falling off the table and tried to put it back in place, and it's over. So, but it's not his fault, as I said. It's totally to do with me, because in the beginning also they were not working, and that was again to do with
Your
me.
bad luck, yeah.
My bad luck. No, I don't have bad luck. It's just technology. So what were you saying? I totally got zoned out.
The disc personalities.
Disc
And you said
personality.
it was to do with family.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with family, environment, what happens as we're growing up, and I think it's really, really, really important to observe children and guide them towards the talents that they have. So that's when I say, like, you're lucky that you studied acting, I think, is that you've been guided there. And even though I know, like, the system, the education system here, I don't know much about it, but, you know, at least there is drama, music, like at a young age you get to find out about some things and then you can get to follow them. But also I think the parents need to really give support to the kids. And I know this is not really financially, it might not be really possible, or maybe they might not have the time.
It's so difficult. Raising a child is more than just like tolerating them. Like, it's like, rather than like just saying, like, let's say you go home, rather than like seeing them as a work, like that, like a chore. Obviously I haven't raised kids, so I could be chatting out my ass, but
Me too. We can talk about our own experiences as a child and how it's affected us now.
And I now know that you shouldn't beat children with wooden spoons.
Yeah.
But I've completely lost my train of thought. Lord, please help me now.
Gone back to your traumas.
It's horrible.
So yeah, like having parents, being a parent is not just about just raising a child. It's not just about like
it's not just about like tolerating that they exist. It like seeing them as a bit of work. Like when you get home from work, you put on the telly, you're like, cool, iPad, there you go, you're solved, I'm solved. Or like telling them to shut up if they're talking. Like, obviously if you've had a busy time and like, you know, when a kid's being like a bit loud to get attention or whatever, but like that's like a project in a way. A child is like a project. You want it to be the best it can be, and that includes happiness as well as like now at modern days financial stability and their creative source, finding that in each person.
Yeah. There's loads going on also for
So much.
I don't know. It's very hard to say when we're not like a working parent, but so the way that I see it is that if I am working like a full-time job, obviously, you know, my kid has to go to school, but when he comes back, maybe it's really important, he or she comes back, really important to spend a bit of time with them, like I don't know, if like reading books, get them to read to you as you're doing your work, maybe, you know. And if you've got computer work to do, get them to read to you. They feel like they're sharing with you, and those memories always stay with us as we grow up. Or sit and start doing a puzzle with them, and then let them continue doing the puzzle as you're cooking. Get them to do a little part of the cooking, because they again, like what you were saying. But who am I to talk? I'm not like an educationalist, but
it's the little things you do. Like every time they help with the cooking, there's a little neuron in their brain that's growing, or like a synapse in their brain that's growing. It's like, now you know how to make rice.
Yeah, and get them to do the simple thing always. Get them to always make chapati.
Chapati is amazing.
And
Banglas.
that's my thoughts, but that's also because I love children, and I can. I've never had a child of my own, so it's really, you know, different. I've ended up taking care of, like, teaching in schools and taking care of children, so it's a bit different than being a 24-hour mother. But
Yeah,
I
definitely.
love children. I love them so much that I love to have them always, speaking. It has been hard. So there's one example that when my sister's kids came over to our house, and I had to cook dinner. What was I? I was cooking dinner, I think, and they came around, and I had got face paints for them. They both wanted to be on their tablets. I said to them, if you paint each other's face, then you have 10 minutes on the tablet. And the older one was like, I don't want face paint, but I'll paint. So at first he was sulking so much. And I said, no, this is it. Like, you have to get your face painted as well, because at the end you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so he did get his face done, but because he's a bit older, he was a bit like, but he's little and can't do it properly. And then he wanted to wash it off once it was done. But when he looked in the mirror, he did have like a tiny bit of a smile, but he was just trying to be like, oh, I don't like it. But he did enjoy the fact that they did something together. And then they had 10 minutes on the tablet. And then they said that they wanted to paint my face. So while I was cooking, in between cooking, if I had to give a 2-3 minutes break, I was allowing myself to have 2-3 minutes break while they were waiting for me in the kitchen, and they were painting my face. And I was like, now I need to chop some veggies, guys. So hang on a minute. So they were learning how to wait and like giggling, oh, she's going to be very funny. And we were all laughing. So constantly I had a knife or a wooden spoon in my hand and they were painting my face. And then at the end, they decided to just turn me into like, they painted my whole, they did a really nice thing. It was like very fairy-like.
Yeah.
And then they just decided to paint my whole face black. And it was like just this really thick paint. But I didn't care. Because I was laughing. They were laughing. I was laughing at the fact that they find it so funny. Because they were like, hey, when she looks in the mirror, she's going to be so angry. So they're like little game.
Yeah. Were you angry?
No, not at all.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved it. It was so much fun. But honestly, it took me almost the same amount of time to cook the dinner while they were painting my face. And the best part was it kept them off the tablet and watch me doing the cooking and understand that I had a duty at that time. And they had to wait in between and yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that not every parent probably wants to get their face painted, but that's the thing. Like, I think it's very normal to have, they want to paint your face and they love it when they do that because that's a memory that sticks with them.
True. Oh, they probably still remember it.
Yeah.
It's nice. The little things, like the extra things. That's what really makes a person.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try and remember that story for when I have a child. And I'll fucking mess about with them.
Yeah.
Fucking make them a balloon to play with while I cook or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Then get them to paint my face.
Yeah. One other funny thing was like when I came back from India the first time and I was doing more yoga and meditation.
We're over an hour. Would you like to stop?
Yeah, we can stop. Should I finish the story?
Oh, no, well, we can carry on longer if you'd like. I don't really
We
mind.
can stop in a minute.
Okay.
So it's funny because they kept doing these yoga and meditation moves. And one time they were in the bath.
Yeah.
And there was this silence. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, like, are they okay in the bath? And I go to check on them. And Issa opens one eye and he was sitting in a meditation pose with his hands on his knees going, look, I'm doing meditation in the bath. And so that was like a good technique to use as well. So whenever they were like, you know, getting a bit out of control, it's like, hey guys, should we do some like yoga, acro yoga? And then should we do some meditation now?
Did they actually feel the meditation? Did they understand how?
I mean, it's something that is used in schools as well now. Because breathing obviously changes with, you know, if you get more hyper, it changes. So they do this thing with the kids as a game. You don't make them realize it. But it's like you act as if you're smelling a flower. And you smell it really long. And then you have little bubbles on your hand. And you blow away the bubbles. And we do that 5 times together. Smell it and blow it. And then by that 5 things, their mind has come back to its settled state. So instead of telling a kid, no, you're doing this wrong and you're doing it bad, you're telling the kid, okay, let's start smelling a flower and blow bubbles. And then once they're in a calm state, maybe after a few hours we can say, you know, that hurt your friend. That wasn't really nice. What can we do about it? How can we make it up to your friend? Finding solutions, because it's more important to learn how to find solutions rather than beating yourself up over something bad that you did.
That's incredible. I like the last quote as well. The bubble thing with the kids.
Yeah.
No, you can never beat yourself up if there's a solution. It just does not make sense. You just follow the solution. You follow it. Yeah, I don't know if I've been heard. But, yeah, do you know if they'd use that in schools at all?
Some schools use it, yeah.
Like meditation?
In the forest school, they did some breathing.
That's amazing. Would you be able to press the red button, please?
Yeah, of course.
But